Good day to you all. Always a pleasure. Yes, these post-Easter season readings. And the readings run true to form. Very dramatic, another court scene, and very person-focused as well. This time an encounter between Christ and Peter. The Gospel, John 21, is the third resurrection appearance of Jesus. And again, the whole concept of witnessing in the Bible becomes very important. The writers are trying to prove their case according to Levitical stipulations, which I spoke about a couple of weeks ago, particularly based on three facts. First of all, we have more than one appearance of Jesus in his resurrected body. So people cannot say, well, we only saw him once. They saw him 3 times. Secondly, he appears to more than one witness. And thirdly, the witnesses to his resurrection are named in today's reading. They are actual historical figures. He appears, we are told, to Simon Peter, Thomas called Didymus, Nathanael from Cana in Galilee, Zebedee's sons, and the 2 other disciples. And notice that his resurrection body is no longer subject to earthly conditions of time and space. Jesus pops up anywhere and at any time. He appears, he disappears, and his body apparently does not need food or rest. This is the true stuff of the resurrection. As I mentioned a couple of weeks ago, this is not a resuscitation, this is a resurrection. It is not the case of Lazarus, who had to face a second death. Jesus has a new body. The resurrection is also a very decisive event. You have to choose. Are you for or are you against? In the first reading taken from Acts 5:27, the Jewish court orders the apostles to stop speaking, I quote, in the name of Jesus, which makes them all the more determined. Peter responds, we must obey God rather than men. So the question is, whose side are you on? Do we look up to the exalted Christ of the second reading, taken from Revelations 5:11, who sits on the throne? Or do we continue to follow the dictates of the world? That is the choice given to us in this post-resurrection season. It is all very dramatic stuff. But it is in the gospel reading we are confronted with a decisive moment. Jesus stands before Peter, but it is really us he is standing before. And he asks him 3 times, do you love me? It is a reflection of the 3 times that Peter disowned him. This encounter takes place in the context of yet another New Testament fishing story. The Bible simply loves fishing stories. There are several of them. Fishing is something you either love or you hate. It can be a very challenging activity. The long hours, the standing or sitting around in one spot, and of course the repetitive action, and the most challenging of all, the facing of the lack of productivity. Sometimes you are there for the entire day and you catch absolutely nothing. We are told in our reading that the disciples had cast their nets and had caught nothing. Jesus, when he appears, instructs them to cast their nets one more time. And their thought must have been, why bother? Why bother to try once again? It is the perennial question that we all face in our personal lives. So why bother? I have asked that question. Why bother? You have sent out 46 unsuccessful job applications. Why bother to send another one? You have prayed for your son or daughter on drugs for 3 years. Why bother to continue praying? After you spend the whole day casting your line or throwing your net into the water and catching nothing, why bother? It's a logical question with spiritual implications. And the response to the question is the question that Jesus asked Peter. Do you love me? This is the ultimate spiritual question. This is the culmination of the Easter event. Not just do you believe in me, but do you love me? Because love demands a commitment. Love demands obedience. Love demands sacrifice. Love demands duty. Love demands action. There's a book written by C.S. Lewis called The Four Loves, where he explores the four different aspects of love philosophically and theologically. And the four loves that he mentions is, first of all, eros, which is sexual love between husband and wife; storge, the love among family members based on affection; philia, which is the love among friends; and agape, sacrificial love, the type of love that God has for us. Well, in our reading today, Jesus uses two of the words for love in the New Testament, agape and philia. He asked Peter, do you agape me twice? And he asked him as well, do you philia me once? So Jesus uses these two terms for love interchangeably. God's love for us and our love for each other, surely indicating that both of them are the same thing. Love is just not an ideal spiritualized thing. It is a real human thing as well. And the Easter event is best realized by conforming to the demands of that love. It is a love that demands courage and risk. It does not waver and will ultimately produce the results that we desire. Fish in abundance. But we have to cast our nets. When you are tired, when there are no results, when you have doubts, when you don't feel like trying again, cast your net. That is the demand that love makes on us. That is what the Easter event is all about. I know you have told that disagreeable, disgruntled co-worker good morning 50 times, and he or she refused to answer. Tell them again, cast your net. Let God bring the results for you. You just do the loving thing. God bless you. Continue to enjoy this beautiful Easter season.